Today, we will take a look at Montgomery bus boycott and why it became an important protest in American history. The Montgomery bus boycott was an important event in history of United States during the Civil Rights Movement. It happened in the city of Montgomery, state of Alabama, in southern part of the country, where racial segregation laws forced black and white people to live separately. To understand how the Montgomery bus boycott started, we need to look at the arrest of Rosa Parks, which became the turning point. In 1955 in Montgomery, bus segregation laws required black Americans to sit in the back half of the bus, while white passengers sat in the front. If white passenger section became full, black passengers had to give their seat to white passengers. Many people believed this law was unfair. On December 1, 1955, Rosa Parks, a black seamstress, was riding a bus home from work. She was sitting in the first row of black section when the white seat became full. The bus driver, J. Fred Blake, ordered Rosa Parks and 3 other black passengers to give up their seats. The other passengers moved, but Rosa Parks refused to move from there. Because she refuses to give her seat, she was arrested and fined $10 plus $4 in court fees. This was not the first time she had problem with the same driver. In 1943, the same driver made her get off the bus and drove away before she could get back on. Rosa Parks was not the first person arrested for this. Earlier in 1955, a 15-year-old girl named Claudette Colvin was arrested for refusing to give up her seat. Another young woman, Mary Louise Smith, was also arrested for the same reason. However, the black community decided to protest after Rosa Parks' arrest because she was seen as a strong and respected person. After Rosa Parks was arrested, civil rights leaders and organizations began to plan a protest against segregation. Before her arrest, Rosa Parks was already involved in civil rights work. She and her husband were members of National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, which worked to end the racial discrimination. Parks even served as the secretary of local NAACP chapter in Montgomery. After Rosa Parks was arrested, she called Edgar Daniel Nixon, an important black leader in Montgomery. He helped bail her out of jail and believed her case could be used legally to challenge bus segregation. However, the protest did not suddenly start. Years before the arrest, a group called Women's Political Council formed in 1946. They had already complained about the unfair bus rules. The group was led by Joanne Robinson, who worked to improve rights for black citizens. In 1954, the group met with Mayor Gale, asked for the fair seating rules and better bus service in black neighborhoods. When the city refused to make changes, Joanne Robinson warned that the black citizens might start a city-wide bus boycott. Right after the Rosa Parks arrest, the Women's Political Council quickly printed flyers asking people not to ride the buses on December 5, 1955, the day of her trial. This became the beginning of the Montgomery bus boycott. Moreover, news about the boycott spread quickly in Montgomery. Black leaders across the city began to support the protest. On Sunday, December 4, 1955, black ministers told people about the boycott in churches, asking everyone not to ride the buses. The local newspaper, the Montgomery Advertiser, also wrote about the planned boycott. On December 5, 1955, about 40,000 black bus riders, almost 90% of black citizens in Montgomery, refuses to ride the bus. This showed strong unity in black community. That evening, many people gathered at the Hall Street Baptist Church for a large meeting. During this meeting, leaders created a Montgomery Improvement Association to organize the protest. The group chooses Martin Luther King, 26-year-old young pastor, as their president. At the meeting, the leaders voted to continue the boycott for a long time until the bus system became fair for black passengers. This decision made the protest stronger and more organized. After the boycott started, the Montgomery Improvement Association made official demands to the city to ask for fair treatment on buses. The MIA decided to continue the boycott until the city agreed to make changes in the bus system. At first, they did not demand to completely end segregation, but they wanted fair treatment for black passengers. On December 8, 1955, the MIA announced their official demands. They asked for bus drivers to treat black passengers politely, seating based on first come, first served, and hiring black bus drivers on routes where most passengers were black. However, we can see from demands that the protest was peaceful and organized, but also serious about the ending unfair treatments. During the boycott in Montgomery, a group of 5 black women decided to challenge bus segregation in the court. They were helped by a lawyer named Fred B. Gray and the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, known as the NAACP. They filed a case in the U.S. District Court to make bus segregation laws as illegal. Even though black citizens made up about 75% of the bus riders, the city still refused to accept the protesters' demand. To keep the boycott going, the Montgomery Improvement Association, known as the MIA, which was led by Martin Luther King Jr., he organized a carpool system to help people to travel to work and schools. At first, black taxi drivers helped by charging only 10 cents, which was the same price as the bus fare. But when the city tried to stop this by punishing the taxi drivers, the MIA created a large carpool system using private cars. During the boycott, there was violence and pressure against the leaders. The homes of Martin Luther King Jr. and other leaders were bombed, but the protests stayed peaceful. Many black citizens walked long distances every day instead of riding bus as a symbol of the protest. Black leaders also held regular mass meetings in churches to keep people united and strong during the protest. This unity helped the boycott to continue for more than 1 year. Furthermore, during the boycott in Montgomery, the fight against bus segregation continued in the courts. On June 5, 1956, a federal court decided that segregated seating on buses was against the 14th Amendment of the United States Constitution. This amendment was created after the Civil War in 1868, and this says that all citizens must have equal rights and equal protection under the law, no matter their race. The city of Montgomery did not agree with the decision and appealed the case to the Supreme Court. In November 1956, the Supreme Court confirmed that the buses segregation was unconstitutional. The final decision was enforced on December 20, 1956. The next day, on December 21, buses in Montgomery were officially integrated, meaning that black and white passengers could sit anywhere they wanted in the bus. The Montgomery bus boycott ended after lasting 381 days. This victory shows us that peaceful protest and legal action could change unfair laws in America. After the buses were integrated in Montgomery, many people did not accept the change. Some white citizens were angry about the end of segregation, and violence started to happen. Even though black and white passengers could now sit together on buses, the city still kept some bus stops separated. There were also attacks against black citizens and civil rights leaders. In some cases, snipers were also fired at buses, and one shooting badly injured a pregnant black woman. Moreover, in January 1957, several black churches and the home of civil rights leaders were bombed. A bomb was also placed at Martin Luther King's house, but it was found before it exploded. The police later arrested 7 men who were responsible for the bombings. They were members of the Ku Klux Klan, a group that supported racial segregation and violence against black Americans. After these arrests, most of the violence that were connected to the Montgomery bus boycott begins to stop. But the event shows us how difficult and dangerous the fight for equal rights was at that time in America. The Montgomery bus boycott was a very important event in the history of the United States civil rights movements. It was one of the first large protests where many people worked together to fight for equal rights for Black Americans. This protest shows that peaceful action outside the courts could help to change the unfair laws too. During the boycott, Martin Luther King, as a leader of the MIA, became famous across the country. His speeches and leadership made him one of the most important leaders of the civil rights movement. He also strongly believed in nonviolent protest, and this peaceful method became a key idea of the movement during the 1960s. Although ministers like King became well known, women also played a very important role in organizing the boycott. The Women's Political Council helped to plan the protests, print flyers, and spread the information through the Black community. Because of the success of the boycott, many future civil rights protests used the same method of peaceful protest to unite the community. The Montgomery bus boycott had a long-lasting impact on the civil rights movements in the United States. After the boycott ended, Martin Luther King helped to create the Southern Christian Leadership Conference known as the SCLC. This organization worked to end segregation across the southern part of the United States by using peaceful protest method. The SCLC later played an important role in the protests in Birmingham in 1963 and in the famous March on Washington, where Martin gave his well-known speech known as "I Have a Dream" about equality and freedom. Moreover, the boycott also brought the national and international attention to the struggle for civil rights in America at that time. More than 100 reporters came to Montgomery to report on the protest and its leaders. However, Rosa Parks remained as an important symbol of the fight for the equal rights. Even though she stayed humble, her action inspired many people. In 1999, the US Congress gave her the Congressional Gold Medal, which was one of the highest honors in the country. The Montgomery bus boycott shows that peaceful protest, unity, and courage could help change unfair laws and make society more equal, just like what happened in America.